The following day at the university, Kim was rushing to class when her stepsister appeared out of nowhere. She stood in front of her, accusing Kim of being a lying hypocrite and manipulating their father into removing her from the board and adding Kim instead. She stated that Kim had never been interested in the family business, yet suddenly, she was showing interest. Kim looked at her without saying anything, not in the mood to argue. She tried to walk away, but her stepsister pulled her back, demanding answers. A few students began to gather around to witness the drama. Kim moved closer and told her that maybe it wasn't her who manipulated their father, but rather their father was finally waking up and realizing that she was his biological daughter and deserved the bigger piece of the pie. She added that he was now becoming smart by not letting outsiders brainwash him. Her stepsister became upset and said that Kim might think she was now a good daughter who was impressing their father, but sooner or later she would mess up and go back to the trash hole she came from. Kim stared at her coldly and said that at least she didn't have to marry an ugly man she didn't love just to impress her parents. She added that her stepsister was even afraid to show her husband in public because of how ugly he looked, and that she doubted they even slept in the same bed. Overwhelmed with anger, her stepsister slapped her and walked away, leaving Kim standing there while students whispered about how she always found a way to get herself humiliated. Minsu, who had been watching everything, felt sorry for her. She walked up to Kim and asked if she was okay. Kim looked at her and said she was fine before walking away. Minsu ran after her, saying she would tell some of the students not to post the videos they had taken. Kim stopped, looked at her, and asked why she hadn't done the same when Sunjin embarrassed her by hitting her with a cake in the face. She stated that she knew Minsu hated her, and she understood, but that didn't give her the right to try and feel sorry for her. She said she could handle her own problems and walked away. Minsu stood there watching Kim as she walked away. She knew she was supposed to hate Kim after all the plotting and harm she had caused to her and the people she loved. But all she felt was pity. She realized that, despite everything, Kim was also going through a hard time in her personal and family life, and maybe that was the reason she was the way she was. That evening, Woobin made his way into the dance studio and found Yuna sitting by herself. Walking up to her, he asked if her boyfriend didn't join her this time. Yuna looked at him and stated that he was a famous idol who had to go on tours, but despite his busy schedule, he always made time for her when she was free. Woobin smiled and told her she was lucky. As they stood there, the girl Sunjin had set up on a blind date with Woobin walked in. Immediately, Woobin walked to her, greeted her with a smile, and thanked her for showing up. He complimented her on how beautiful she looked. Yuna stood there watching them, visibly annoyed. Woobin held the girl's hand and introduced her as someone special, then introduced Yuna as his younger sister. Taking the girl's hand, he started practicing dance moves in front of Yuna, who couldn't hide her annoyance. Woobin glanced at her and laughed a little before turning to the girl and thanking her again for coming. She asked what had made him change his mind. Woobin stuttered, saying that he hadn't been too friendly last time and wanted to make amends. She smiled and told him that was very nice of him. Woobin pulled her closer and asked if she was from Korea. She smiled and said she was from Jamaica and had come to Korea to study. Woobin smiled and glanced at Yuna again, who told them she was leaving. He asked why she was leaving when they were supposed to wait for their dance instructor. Annoyed, Yuna said she was not in the mood and walked away. Woobin watched as she left. The girl beside him looked at him, catching on to what was happening. She asked if he had invited her over just to make Yuna jealous. Woobin immediately turned to her and denied it, but the girl smiled and told him it was okay. He could be honest with her. She said she could definitely sense that there was something going on between them, but she wasn't mad and understood. Woobin apologized, saying it wasn't his intention, and offered to make it up to her by buying her dinner. She smiled and said it was okay. Looking at him, she offered some advice. She told him that sometimes it was best to be sincere and tell someone exactly how he felt instead of playing silly, childish games. Woobin told her he had tried to be sincere, but it hadn't worked. Moving closer, she shared that she once had issues with her father, and they used to argue a lot. Talking didn't help, so she wrote him a letter expressing her deepest feelings and gave it to him to read in his own time. She said it had helped improve their relationship and suggested that maybe Woobin should try it too. She told him she had to leave, but that they should definitely do dinner sometime. She smiled and walked away, leaving Woobin standing there, thinking about what she had just said.